Hare Krishna Gurudev, Danvat Pranam. Please accept our humble obeisances from everybody who have joined and will be joining in the next 5 minutes or listening to it on YouTube later on. Gurudev, we are really grateful for your presence today. Again, we ambushed you. So we are making this a habit until you join us regularly, so that we have dedicated time and day for you. But till you don't commit, we'll be ambushing you. And I beg for forgiveness if I have invaded into any of your time. But this is a very important topic, and we were having a lot of questions, and we didn't think of anyone better but you to guide us through. So, we are reading the Srimad Bhagavatam. We are on Canto 3, Chapter 11, and it talks about time and light and how in our Shastras it's measured. So, it's a complicated topic of calculation of time from the atom. We seek your guidance. The text for today is 14, but Gurudev, we can do it in any format you would like us to do. We usually do the Mangalacharan in the beginning. So would you like us to do that? Or would you like to do the Mangalacharan?
Yes, no, please go ahead with the Mangalacharan and then I can start.
Thank you so much. Madana-gopāla, are you able to do the Mangalacharan for today? Hare Krishna. Are you in a space where you can do?
Yes, Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. Hare Krishna Gurudev, please accept my humble obeisances. Oh, Guru Shri Prabhupada. Thank you so much for the opportunity. Okay. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jana Shalakaya Jashkul Umilita Mena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Tapitamina Bhutale Svayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Sva Padantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaisnavamscha Shri Rupa Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunandam Vitam Tam Jivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Deva Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Visakam Stamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagat Pati Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kancha Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshvari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare. Yeah, thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you so much, Madana-gopāla, for doing the wonderful Mangalacharan so eloquently. So thank you all devotees for joining in today. We are reading the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 11, and the text for today is text 14. Over to you, Gurudev. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. My obeisances to all of you. Thank you all for joining. I was just remembering, this is my 6th year joining this Eldoret circle. maybe, starting 2020. So we finished 6, this is 7th actually. If you count 2020 as a full year. So I'm very joyful to see all your faces, and if you don't mind, if it's not a big deal, you can turn on your cameras, if no pressure, but if you can, be more personal. I appreciate seeing our Nakuru Center as well, if I'm not mistaken. I believe that's Mansi Ganga Mataji in the back over there. My obeisances to all of you. Hare Krishna. Thank you for joining. So, I do need, I need the ability to share. If you can make me co-host or host or something, because I'm not able to do it right now.
Yes, Gurudev, you can share.
Okay. There you go. Okay. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3. We'll cover a couple of verses, and then I'll go back and cover from the beginning of the chapter till where we are, just as a kind of a recap. So we're going to do chapter 11, text 14. Samvatsara parivatsara idavatsara evacha anuvatsara vatsarascha viduraivam prabhashyate. There are 5 different names for the orbits of the sun, moon, stars, and luminaries in the firmament. And they each have their own samvatsara. Purport: the subject matters of physics, chemistry, mathematics, astronomy, time, and space dealt with in the above verses of Srimad Bhagavatam are certainly very interesting to students of the particular subject. But as far as we are concerned, we cannot explain them very thoroughly in terms of technical knowledge. The subject is summarized by the statement that above all the different branches of knowledge is the supreme control of Kala, the plenary representation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Nothing exists without Him, and therefore everything, however wonderful it may appear to our meager knowledge, is but the work of the magical wand of the Supreme Lord. As far as time is concerned, we beg to subjoin herewith a table of timings in terms of the modern clock. 1 Truti is 8/13,500th of a second. 1 Veda is 8/135th of a second. 1 Lava is 8/45th of a second. 1 Nimesha is 8/15th of a second. 1 Kshana is 8/5th of a second. 1 Kashtha is 8 seconds. 1 Lagu is 2 minutes. 1 Danda is 30 minutes. 1 Prahara is 3 hours. 1 day is 12 hours. 1 night is 12 hours. And 1 Paksh is 15 days. 2 Pakshas comprise 1 month. And 12 months comprise 1 calendar year, or 1 full orbit of the sun. A human being is expected to live up to 100 years. That is the way of the controlling measure of eternal time. The Brahma Samhita 552 affirms this control in this way. Yat chakshuresha savita sakala grahanam raja samasta suramurti rashesha teja yasya gaya brahmati samprita kala chakro govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, under whose control even the sun, which is considered to be the eye of the Lord, rotates within the fixed orbit of eternal time. The sun is the king of all planetary systems and has unlimited potency in heat and light. Text 15. Yatsrijya shakti murudocha vasyan svachaktya pumso brahmaya dividhavati bhuta bheda kala kaya gunamayam kratubir vitanvams tasmai balim harata vatsara panchakaya. O Vidura, the sun enlivens all living entities with his unlimited heat and light. He diminishes the duration of life of all living entities in order to release them from their illusion of material attachment. And he enlarges the path of elevation to the heavenly kingdom. He thus moves in the firmament with great velocity, and therefore everyone should offer him respects once every 5 years with all ingredients of worship. This is the last verse we're going to cover today. Vidura uvacha pitradeva manushyanam ayu paramidam smritam paresham gatima chakshva yesyu kalpad bahirvida. Vidura said, I now understand the life durations of the residents of the Pita planets and heavenly planets, as well as that of the human beings. Now kindly inform me of the durations of life of those greatly learned living entities who are beyond the range of a kalpa. Purport. The partial dissolution of the universe that takes place at the end of Brahma's day does not affect all the planetary systems. The planets of highly learned living entities, like the sages Sanaka and Bhrigu, are not affected by the dissolutions of the millenniums. All the planets are of different types, and each is controlled by a different Kala Chakra, or schedule of eternal time. The time of the Earth planet is not applicable to other, more elevated planets. Therefore, Vidura herein inquires about the duration of life on other planets. So up to this point, we cover very technical things about the time and the calculation of it. Let's just step back a bit. Let us begin with an image. Imagine standing outside on a clear night. The stars, you can see them. They're turning overhead. Of course, give yourself enough time. The moon is moving. The earth beneath your feet is spinning at 1,000 miles an hour relative to the center of the earth. The sun is traveling through space at incredible speed relative to the center of the universe. And inside your own body, trillions of atoms are vibrating and combining and separating. So much motion happening. And yet you feel still. You feel steady where you're sitting. You feel a sense of permanence. You feel permanent. But the Bhagavatam says everything is moving. Everything is measured. And everything is under the control of time. Time factor. And time itself is Krishna's energy. Krishna says, I am time. His energy, it's also he himself. Now, of course, you've read the whole section up to this point. And we can say, this section of the Srimad Bhagavatam is super technical. And it may seem unrelated to bhakti. However, every single verse in the Bhagavatam is connected to Krishna and devotional service. Even these ones. So there are several purposes to this whole section. And that's what we are... See, Prabhupada, when he writes in these purports, it gives us clues how to understand some of these technical points. That's the beauty of reading Prabhupada's purports. See? Yeah, I'm surprised. Okay, hold on 1 second. Let me see what the deal is with my audio. Maybe it's my audio setting. 1 second. Audio settings. Okay, yeah. Oh, here it is. How about now? Is that better? Nakuru Center?
Yes, I could hear.
Okay, but is it better than before, right?
Much better. Much better.
Okay. Okay, good. Thank you for letting me know. Yeah, so what is the purpose of this whole technical section? Well, there's several of them. One purpose is to show that bhakti, this whole Krishna consciousness process, is not sentimental. It is scientific. It's just as scientific as chemistry and physics. It's a science. It's not blindness. Another purpose is to reveal the astonishing precision of Krishna's design. You know how we said timing is everything? Look at the precision of his timing. If the earth speeded up a little bit more, our temperature will be way off course. Nothing would work. If it got a little slower, nothing would work. Everything is perfect. That's Krishna's design. Another purpose is to humble our own intelligence before the cosmic order when you see the complexity of it. We should not feel proud. Oh yeah, I understand it now. No, we cannot understand. We can barely scratch the surface of how this whole thing works. So it's to humble our intelligence. And by doing so, we also want to awaken a sense of wonder. How wonderful. Really spark that flame of appreciation. We want to appreciate Krishna. Every time we look up, our sense of wonder is again firing on all cylinders. And then also it's sobering because it reminds us that time is sacred. It's because of time that our current situation is temporary. The word temporary comes from tempo, which means time. It's time-bound. Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport that all this, the physics, astronomy, time calculation, is ultimately the work of what he calls the magical wand of the Supreme Lord. How cool is that? The magical wand. So what looks mechanical is mystical. It's magic. You know, when little kids go to a magic show, the eyes open, whoa. Krishna is inviting us to do that. Look, open up your eyes wide. See how beautiful everything is. How amazing, astounding. It's functional and aesthetic. And understand that my hand is behind everything. That's what we should bring to the table, to our consciousness when we see the nature, when we see the beauty, we see the precision. And then see the person behind it and allow ourselves to be thrilled by that wonder. See, what looks scientific is divine. And that's where these two things intersect in this very technical thing. It's not like we can cut out this part of the Bhagavatam and put it aside. This is like, those who like physics and stuff, it's not for us. No, this is for us. And to make sure it impresses deeply upon ourselves what is the caliber of what we're reading. See? So, this section is called Calculation of Time from the Atom. So let's go back to the beginning, right, from verses 1 through 5. Here, Maitreya Muni is describing the Paramanu. Paramanu is the atom. And the key points that are covered is that the atom is indivisible, means that's the smallest unit of particle. And that's what we describe in chemistry as well. The atom exists even after dissolution. So even after you break things down, everything falls apart and crumbles, but the atom is still there. The smallest unit. That never gets dissolved. Our body is a combination of atoms. Sometimes, people mistakenly think this body is one unified reality. So this is very much like modern atomic theory. But the Bhagavatam adds something deeper. That the atom is connected to time. It's not separate. See, and modern physicists are just beginning to see the connection now. But this is something 5,000 years ago when it was written. And millions of years ago, this knowledge has always been there. Atoms combine and they separate. That's what atoms do, as needed. And time measures that motion. So that's how they're connected. See, the measurement of the motion of atoms is what the time factor is. So Prabhupada even says the Bhagavatam includes knowledge of atomism, like the Paramanu Vada of the philosopher Kanad. Kanad was a philosopher, and he wrote extensive treatise on Paramanu, the atomic theory. So what is our spiritual takeaway from those first 5 verses? One is that our body is not like the solid thing that looks like. Our body is a temporary arrangement of invisible particles that have come together, sticking together because of the forces of nature, as arranged by the Lord. That in itself should wake us up a little bit. Hey, I'm not this body. It's going to just fall apart. Dust to dust, ashes to ashes. We have to know this. We have to be thoughtful about this. We have to keep that in our forefront of our consciousness. Don't think you're the body. It's dust to dust, ashes to ashes. Body's not solid. It's never going to be. It was never permanent. It's never really alive, actually. It's a soul that's always alive. The soul makes these bodily atoms appear to be alive. And the soul is not made of atoms. The soul is a different category of substance. So you are not this combination of atoms. You are the observer of the combination of atoms. You can manipulate to some degree your body. To some degree, You can't manipulate everything. You cannot tell your pancreas to produce more insulin. It's not possible. You can breathe faster. You can manipulate your lungs and certain muscles, but that's about it. But you cannot tell, your pituitary gland to release more, hormones or whatever. You cannot do that. It's not in your control. You're the observer. You're just watching it happen. Then comes this powerful shift, right? The time factor is introduced. Time is not just seconds and minutes. Time is the potency of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. So verse 3, we see that time is Bhagavan, Krishna, controlling. Time controls all physical movement. Although he's not visible, you cannot see time. You can see its effects everywhere. What are the effects of time? Hair turns gray. Children grow bigger. Mountains erode away. Planets rotate. Time is Krishna's invisible hand. Prabhupada quoted that verse, Yat Chakshuresha Savita Sakala Grahanam, that the sun rotates by the order of Govinda. The sun is not independent. The sun moves around. The planets are not independent. The atoms also are not independent. Everything moves because Krishna wills it. He is the prime mover, the original. And this is why Prabhupada says it is like a magic wand. It looks automatic. It looks self-sustaining, but it's actually controlled fully at every level, from the macrocosmic to the microscopic. In verse 15, we see the sun. The sun is described, it's a time made visible, the time factor. We see it every rising. The sun is described as enlivening all living beings. It's reducing everyone's lifespan. The sun is illuminating knowledge. It's moving with tremendous speed, of course. The sun is a visible symbol of time. Every sunrise is one less day of your life. We all have fixed number of sunrises in this lifetime. It's a little startling, but that's a fact. We don't have 100,000 days ahead of us. None of us do. Even if you did have 100,000 days, that's still a limited number. But we only have a few thousand days in front of us. And it moves really fast. Every sunrise is one less day of our life. Every sunset is one step closer to death, but also one step closer to liberation. Devotees are not startled by the movement of the sun. Oh my God, another day. Gosh, you know, people get depressed when they look at their birthday. Oh no, I'm turning 35. Shh. What have I done? Wasted my whole life. 35. 36. Gosh. They get depressed. But devotees don't get depressed. Devotees feel happy. Oh yes, one day closer to Krishna. Yes. One more day, an opportunity to serve Krishna. One more day to look forward to when will I see Krishna again? One more step closer to liberation. The sun does take away your lifespan, but it gives you another opportunity to chant Hare Krishna. This is the paradox of time. Which side of the paradox do you want to be on? That depends on your consciousness. That depends on your conscious choice you make every morning. We have to make every morning a conscious choice when we wake up and put our feet on the floor. Today I'm going to be Krishna conscious. All over again. Yes. The first day of the beginning of the rest of my life. So for devotees, the time factor is something to be welcomed, because we see the time factor as Krishna. And every time we think of that, we progress in Krishna consciousness. Now you might ask, what does its atomic measurement have to do with devotion? So everything, because this section teaches us that the universe is intelligent. It is not accidental. Time is sacred. It's not empty. It has purpose. Our life is precisely measured. It's not endless. And Bhagavan Shri Krishna is behind every movement. It's not impersonal, this world. Prabhupada says over here, above all branches of knowledge is the supreme control of Kala, the plenary representation of the Supreme Lord. This is from the purport. It's interesting. Plenary means it has all Krishna's strength. So the Kala, the time factor, when we see it working on us, we should feel this is Krishna's hand. This is an incarnation of the Lord in a sense. It's an expansion. Plenary representation. So if you study the time factor, you study physics. Physics leads to philosophy. And philosophy leads to surrender. Prabhupada encouraged us to think philosophically, be philosophical in our thought processes. He was very supportive and encouraging of that. So the deeper message is we should not feel overwhelmed. We should rather allow our intelligence to be impressed. Wow, this is so impressive. We should not be overwhelmed by the technical section here. Oh, I can't understand this. No, even if you cannot understand it, it's okay. Maybe that's part of the thing. It's beyond our, current abilities to grasp all the details. But at least we can allow our intelligence to be impressed by the tremendous precision and all the various units of time. Wow, you have a unit? You have a word for 135th of a second? How you even use that? See? And yet it's there. Bhakti is not blind belief. Bhakti is alignment with the cosmic order. Once you get a sense of the cosmic order and we realize Krishna is behind it, and we realize we want to surrender to Krishna, and this is how surrender should be done, then you are now in alignment with the movements of the sun and the planets and the stars. You're now in alignment finally. That's the whole point of all this. cosmic magic. When you chant Hare Krishna, you are harmonizing yourself with atomic time. You're harmonizing yourself with the planetary orbits and the solar cycles and the grand cosmic dissolution. You're stepping out of the clock, the limitation of time. Because time destroys everything material, but it cannot touch the soul, it cannot touch Krishna, and it cannot touch your bhakti. Your bhakti is outside the limitation of time. So is your soul. Your bhakti is eternal, your soul is eternal, Krishna is eternal. Remember, Krishna said we are beginningless. There's never a time it didn't exist. Because the time factor has no jurisdiction over the soul at all. But it's important for us to take it seriously because we are conditioned to think we are the body. And so we have to take the time factor seriously and admire Krishna as the time factor. And respect him, of course. A sense of wonder is something that really keeps our heart young. Wow, amazing. Look at that, amazing. If you become cynical about everything, life becomes intolerable and you end up with a bitter face your whole life. But this wonder can be used as a spiritual practice. This section of the Bhagavatam is meant to create amazement. Just imagine trillions of atoms moving in exact proportion in your body. Planets rotating without collision. The sun blazing at a perfect distance. And the seconds and milliseconds measured down to atomic vibration. And all of this described thousands of years ago in a language that itself is so scientific and beautiful. Not for pride. This amazement is not for pride, but for humility. To remind us and to say, I am not the controller at any level. I am not the center. I am not this body, and this body is not permanent. Only Krishna is permanent. Only Krishna is the controller. Only Krishna is the center. That's the point of this. See, you'll notice in Prabhupada's purport, he says, these are all technical terms. And those who are students of physics, they can probably explore this further, but I'm not going to get too much into this. So he doesn't get too much into it in the purport, in the sense of the technical aspects of it. How and why. We can also take it to the nth degree and keep asking how and why. Why is this called a truti, and why is this called a medha, and all these things. But that's just the way things are set up. What I wanted to highlight is, what is our takeaway from this? And then Vidura, he ends by asking about higher beings beyond one kalpa. Because time, again, we see is layered, the time factor. There are levels of existence beyond this, our tiny human schedule. In other planets, other dimensions that are not visible to our telescopes and things like that. But there are people living there, and they have much different spans of time. And that also should awaken this realization. If time is so vast, if the creation is so precise, and if everything is so ordered, then how much more precise is Krishna's care for your soul? Because see, dead matter is dead matter. It's not that consequential. And Krishna puts so much care in making that precise. So imagine how much more care he'll put when you turn to him. How much more precision, how much more details, how much more attention to detail He'll give in His plan for you when you choose to turn to Him. You think He'll just, you'll not be just another number. You'll not just be another social security number or some kind of, barcode for Him. No. Krishna cares for your soul like He cares for every soul. Like any mother would care for her child, except much more. If He can manage atoms and massive galaxies, He can manage your life. And He cares about your life. And the vastness of the universe should give us some clue as to the vastness of His love for each of us individually. That is the point. This is not meant to create a coldness. It should in fact create more appreciation of His warm love for us, not cold impersonalism. So in closing, I will say that every second that passes is Krishna's energy. Every sunrise we see rising, whether in Nakuru or Nairobi or anywhere in Kenya or in India or in the UK or in America, it doesn't matter. The sunrise is the same. The sun is the sun. Every sunrise is His reminder. Every heartbeat you feel from your body is counted. It's a direct mercy of the Lord. Time is moving. The body is temporary. But your devotion is the eternal flame. It's eternal. So let us use this scientifically measured, cosmically scheduled, divinely controlled time for the one thing that transcends time, which is what? Chanting the holy names. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to teach us. Because when you chant, you connect not to atomic time, but to the eternal factor beyond time. And that is the true science of bhakti. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And that's how we connect and appreciate. Hare Krishna. So thank you all very much for your kind attention and your valuable time. Hare.
Hare Krishna, Gurudev. Thank you so much for this explanation, and it has made a lot of our concepts that we've been struggling with the whole week since we started this chapter quite clear. We now open it up to any questions or comments anybody has. This is a good forum. We have around 20 participants, and I think there might be a few questions. But before I open it up to other devotees asking a question, I have a small question, Gurudev. You said that the time is between the two atoms, the distance between the two atoms, or what is the time? Or when they combine with when they stick to each other, that the time taken?
Time is the movement of atoms. So certain atoms, when they move in certain ways, then is described, okay, the movement of this atom from this distance to this amount of time. In fact, even the modern, if you were to look up what is the definition of 1 second, even look at modern physics, they will describe in terms of atoms. Did you know that? If you look up, and this actually I learned when I was in grade school in Kenya, and there was a book they had given us as textbook, and this definition of once, how do you define 1 second? So I said that, okay, one strontium atom, how long the amount of time a strontium atom takes to do this kind of atomic movement is 1 second, something like that. So that's how you measure it, because you want to measure it by some reference point, and we know that atomic movements are consistent. When an atom moves from here to here, it's always a consistent. So you can measure, you set your clocks by it, and then you can see the movements of the sun. So when you set your clock, ultimately our clocks are driven by the movements of the sun. But if you want to measure a unit of second, because how do we come up with these hours and days, right? Days are in a year. That's movement of the sun, right? So we have approximately 360 something days, right? For one year and so on. So then you break it down from the solar movement, but then when you come down to seconds and milliseconds, then it's hard to use the sun as a reference point. So then they use atomic reference points. That's the whole point of it.
Yeah, thank you for that clarification. And another question that kept on coming up every day was, so time is different in different planetary systems, in different realms. So will it be measured the same way, the movement of atoms?
Yeah, see, right. So see, let's take a look at the day of Brahma. Say 1 hour of Brahma. So over there, see, the Bhagavatam is written for consumption here on earth. You see, if I write a book about economics, textbook of economics for say standard 7 to be used in Kenya, I'm not going to use US dollars. I'm going to use Kenya shillings, as a unit of measure, because that's what everybody's used to. So similarly, because the Bhagavatam is used for consumption here on earth, all other references are based on our years, so our human years. So how many human years equal to 1 day of Brahma? How many human years is equal to one night in Indraloka or something like that? So that's why when Arjuna goes to Indraloka, it comes back, moves very quickly, is to come out very quickly. When King Indradyumna went up to meet Lord Brahma and he came back, so many generations had passed, So all those factors, they're given from our viewpoint, you see. And that's why we use our atomic understanding. So all the units are given from that point of view. It's not that they're calculated the time differently. Now, once you establish this is 1 human day on Earth, then you can use that as a baseline to measure there. They may have their own system to establish their own, but ultimately we get a sense of the different times. I mean, even if you look at our solar system, right? You look at Jupiter. Okay, that's a different planet. Jupiter moves around the sun, but that one revolution takes many, many of our years. It's not moving at the same pace. So many Earth years make up 1 Jupiter year. So even if you think from that point of view, it's like, yeah, it makes sense, you see. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that clarification. I open it up to questions or comments from the group.
Yeah, Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandvat Pranam.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandvat Pranam.
Thank you very much. Very nice explanation. I heard about that, the Parmanu Vad of Kannada, that Parmanu and the difference between Parmanu and six Anu equal to 1 Parmanu. Is it correct?
Exactly.
While in the English, both sides it says atom.
So yeah, I mean, we see in the verses here, Prabhupada uses the term hexatom. I think you read that, right? The 6 of these. So Paramanu, so first of all, we have to understand, Paramanu is the smallest unit. Nothing can go smaller than Paramanu. It's the absolutely smallest particle. Now, we have to also remember the Paramanu that is described in the Shastra is not the same as the atom that we use in modern chemistry and physics. We have to make sure those are 2 different things. You see, that you cannot say this is the same, otherwise you get in trouble. Because even in modern physics, the atom has subatomic particles, which are smaller particles, electrons, neutrons, protons. Those are less than an atom, right? And then discovered even smaller ones like quarks. Quarks are even more subatomic particles that keep the gluons, nuons, muons, and pi mesons and things like that. So we don't want to use the modern physics to confuse the atomic theory of Kannada and the atoms as described in the Bhagavatam. But yes, the Paramanu is the ultimate smallest unit, right? So Paramanu exists eternally because it's the smallest unit. It's the ultimate building block of matter, right? So two Paramanus combine to form Divyanuka, a dual. Okay, then 3 duals form this hexatom, 6 atoms together like that, and so on. So where does this 6 anu equals 1 paramanu come from? It doesn't appear direct. What's that?
Yeah, I heard one of our response lecture, Srimad Bhagavatam.
Yeah,
And
it's on this one. Yeah.
Prabhuji explained that Anu and Parmanu both are different. Then 6 Anu equals to make Parmanu.
Yeah. So
So
right.
I understood that.
It's the other way around. Paramanu is the smallest unit.
Okay, thank you.
Param means the highest. Highest means the greatest. Greatest doesn't mean bigger. Greatest in the smallness. You see.
Yeah.
So that's why Paramanu. And if you look, there's a that word Paramanu comes in Brahma Samhita. You know that verse? Andantarastha Paramanu Chayantarastham. Govinda Mahadi Purusham. So Paramanu refers to that smallest unit. You can't go smaller than that. Then multiple Paramanus, 6 of them make a hexatom. So like that. That's the case. I mean, I'm just reading from the Bhagavatam, this section from here. So,
Yeah.
thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you very much, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Yes, Chris Brian, Prabhu, go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Gurudev. Please accept my humble obeisances.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much for the amazing class. There's one question that has been coming in my mind. We're all made of atoms and we're all controlled by time, yeah? And I know that in Vaikuntha, where Krishna is, it's not controlled by time, but is the soul made out of matter or... Yeah.
Yes, that's what we learn in this section. The soul is not made of matter at all. It is a completely different substance. It is spiritual. In fact, Prabhupada in some places even translates as antimatter. I think maybe it was Easy Journey to Other Planets or some other book where he actually says the spiritual is antimatter. Means it's not as antagonistic to matter, but we have nothing to do with matter at all. You see? We are not made of anything that exists in this material plane. It's not made of atoms, first of all. The soul has its own elements, but those elements are Sat, Chit, Ananda. Elements are not something we can measure. They're qualitative elements. We are eternal. Eternity is an element that we're made of. Cognizance, so being aware, that's Chit. And Ananda means bliss. That's our eternal nature, to be blissful and happy. So that is the nature of the soul. You see, the nature of the soul is because it contains these 3 aspects, so we can call them elements. It's like Krishna is made of those 3, and we are also made of those 3. It's just like ocean water. One tiny drop of ocean water is salty, just like the big ocean. But Krishna is a big ocean, we are one tiny drop. But we have the same quality, Satchidananda. We have the same level of cognizance, eternity, knowledge, and bliss, and so on. Yes. And that's why we don't belong here. That's why we're not comfortable. Yeah.
Thank you. Also, Gurudev, this also raises another question, because we know like there is certain Mahayugas that it starts from this yuga and then it's with Kali Yuga, yeah? And there is a time frame that has been stated of how when the Kali Yuga starts and when it's going to end and everything. But then how is it described that there is going to be another cycle of Mahayugas that is going to start? Like how it said, like in every 999 yugas, there is no Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in a Kali Yuga. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes after every 1,000 yugas. So how do we know, like, how, I don't know how to phrase this question. How is it described that the Mahayugas start?
Sorry, sir. How is it described? What? Say the last 2 words.
How is it described, like when or how the Mahayugas are going to start? Is it immediately after the end of each Kali Yuga, and then another Mahayuga starts?
Yeah, it always is that way. It's like, I'll just give you an example. Like here in America, we have 4 seasons. It's spring, summer, autumn, or we call it fall, and then there's winter. So right now we're in the winter time. It's actually a lot of snow on the ground right now. And then after winter, sometime in April, things start melting and the flowers blooming, and then things get warmer. And then by the time June, July comes, it's very hot weather. Then, September, October, it gets cold again. So that's how you know. You know by the symptoms. You also know by the calendar. The calendar says on this day, this is the first day of summer. And roughly, it works. Roughly it works. Sometimes the first day of summer is very cold and sometimes super hot. But roughly that marks the point. So that's how you know these yugas are in place, because it's on schedule. So this Kali Yuga is on schedule to last 432,000 years. We have passed about 5,000 years only. And we've passed 5,000 years and we have another 427,000 years to go. You see. So that's how that works. And that's how you can tell. Now with Krishna coming, of course, every Kali Yuga, the Lord expands, his expansion comes. Every Kali Yuga, he comes to spread the holy names. One incarnation comes. But every 1,000 Kali Yugas, Krishna comes directly from spiritual world, from Goloka. Now, what are these two Krishnas? One is expansion, like a Vishnu expansion, incarnation, and the other is directly Krishna from Goloka in the mood of Radharani coming as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So that particular aspect of that incarnation only happened recently, 500 years ago. So we're very fortunate. And he comes in one day of Brahma. So Krishna comes, you can say, every day to the material world. Every day. Now the days of one day of Lord Brahma, not our day. But for him, it's a day. Like, I'm coming every day, guys. How many more times do you want me to come? You see? So he's coming every day of Lord Brahma, which is pretty frequent. Like, he's coming on daily basis to do his rounds. Okay, how's it doing? Come here, let me do some leelas. Look, it's so nice. Let's go back. Every day he's coming. So one day of Lord Brahma is 1,000 yuga cycles. 4,000 yugas, So that's why for us it seems very long. But for Krishna and for Lord Brahma, it's a daily affair. You see? So we can appreciate that from that point of view. That Krishna is so kind, he's coming every day for us. And not just that, he's with us in our heart right now. And he's with us in the form of the holy name. And he's with us in the form of the instruction of spiritual master. And he's with us in the form of the deity in the temple. So he's surrounding us. We cannot escape him. Escape takes place in our consciousness. But if you actually see, you'll see Krishna everywhere. He's light of the sun and the moon. He's a taste of water. So if you look for Krishna, you'll see him everywhere. So yes, he does come every 1,000 yuga cycles, but he's also here right now. So you have to appreciate all those aspects. All right? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Gurudev.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Gurudev. There's a question from ISKCON Nakuru. Hare Krishna, Gurudev.
Okay.
In school, we are told that it's a planet that moves and the sun is in the static position. Can you please clarify this for us?
Yeah, so this is called relative motion. If you've ever been in a train, right? You're sitting in the train and you're looking out the window and another train starts moving, but your train is still standing there. Sometimes you feel, oh wait, we're moving already? Have you ever felt that experience? You felt that. But you're not moving. The other train is moving, but you feel you're moving because that is relative to something else. So motion is relative. So if you are standing here and for you the earth is still, then the sun is the one that's moving. But if you stand on the sun, the earth is the one that's moving. So it doesn't matter how you look at it. It's all relative motion. It's just that when you look at it from outside, say you're in a spaceship and you're looking at the whole solar system, then it appears the planets are moving around the sun. But when you're standing in the planet, it appears that the moon and the sun, they're the ones moving, the stars are moving. So it doesn't matter how you look at it. And so from the scriptures, it is described from our point of view. It's moving. You see. But there's nothing technically wrong in that because it's relative motion. Now the sun itself is also moving. Sun is not staying in one place. Relative to the rest of the universe and other stars, the sun is moving very fast. And then the other planets are rotating around it as the sun moves. So if there's some YouTube videos of it, you can just Google it, you'll see the movement of the sun relative to the universe, and you'll see it. The sun is moving super fast and the planets are spinning around it. So it's all relative motion. Famous scientist Einstein, he put the theory of relativity, you've heard of theory of relativity, it's relative to the other something. He's brilliant. I mean, he figured out the whole theory of relativity. I haven't even figured out my relatives yet, So But anyway, that's why we have our limited minds. But you can understand from that framework how it is. All right. Okay.
Thank you very much. One more question from Nakuru. I would like. This is from Peter Prabhu from Nakuru Center. I would like to understand how devotion is eternal.
Yes. How is our devotion eternal? It's a good question. See, when we do something, say we do some work in a factory and you get some money for it, the reward for doing the work is you get the money. Okay? Now you go to the toy shop with the money, you buy a nice little teddy bear for your son, and then in the evening you go back to home and you tell your son, oh, look what I got for you. And he's like, oh, you got me a teddy bear. And he comes and gives you a hug. The reward for the teddy bear is you get a hug from your son, and it develops your relationship. So every thing that you do for work, for a reward, you get a particular reward. Now, what is the reward for devotional service? Why do we do devotional service for a particular result? There's a purpose for it. The purpose is that the reward we get is purification of our desires, the opening and blossoming of the flower of our love for Krishna, the strengthening of the devotional creeper, and strengthening of our relationship with Krishna, deepening of the faith. That's the reward of chanting. Right? So as you water, then the creeper gets stronger, and you remove the anarthas go away, unwanted things start moving out, lust, greed, anger. These are all different rewards from the devotional process. So now if I've earned a lot of money by doing business and I've collected 10 billion shillings, if I die, I cannot take that reward with me. I have to use it now only. It doesn't carry over to my next life. It's not like a baby is born, all of a sudden their account shows up with millions of dollars because he's carried it from his previous life. That's not how it works. We would wish it carries over, but it's not how it works. Because it's not eternal. But the reward for Krishna conscious bhakti, the devotion, it carries over into next life. So the purification, so say you do a lot of devotional service, the purification will say 20%. So you've gotten rid of the gross desires. Most of your greed is gone, most of your lust is gone, most of your anger is gone. Then the effect of that carries over in your next life. You start with 21%. That's why some people, even as young children, even as they grow up, just seem so much more pure. Just seem so less irritated. They're not very petty. They're very deep, very profound. Even at young age, like 15, 16, 20, they seem to have wisdom of very old people. They're not moved very much. They love God naturally. That is, you can see the reward is working because it's eternal. In a practical way, you see it working. It's like different people at different levels. And so we don't judge people's advancement based on their age. We give respect based on age, of course, but we don't judge someone's advancement based on age. Shukadeva Goswami was only a teenager, but all the other great sages listened to him hearing Bhagavatam. So you can see the eternal nature of your devotion carries over. And that's why our whole trajectory, our entire sojourn, our journey in the material world is to facilitate our spiritual growth. And so your bank account is permanent, just like the spiritual bank account. So we should not waste time in other bank accounts. We should try maximum to deposit as much as possible, all the coins of Hare Krishna mantra into account, as many as you can, and try to do very high quality purification. Try to avoid offenses that can reverse some of the purification. We can actually stop our growth very badly if we're making offenses. So we learn to avoid offenses, learn to be nice, really, really look at ourselves. Try to be nice to everybody. Someone gives you feedback, take it. Try to understand it. And if we improve very much in that devotional service, and that's to our eternal credit. Okay? Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Partha Prem Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
Yeah, thank you so much, Prabhuji, for your nice and a wonderful class. Prabhuji, I have one doubt. this time factor is only for the material world or for the spiritual world also?
It's a very good question. It's a very good question. Actually, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur made a very beautiful statement on that question. He says, in the spiritual world, time is conspicuous by its absence. Very interesting. It's conspicuous by its absence. That means you feel the absence of time. It means it's not there. What does that mean? So if you read today's purport, Prabhupada said the time factor you measure by the degrading effect it has on us. You get gray hair, you get wrinkled skin, you get bodily problems. That's just on a body level. Things, even things, they get older. You buy some bananas, they go bad, after a few days or whatever, right? The time factor degrades everything. The degrading effect of time is not there in the spiritual world. You may think, how does that work? Well, if you have strawberries and bananas, they don't go bad over there. They're always fresh. We can't fathom how that even means. Here we see the time factor working as seasons, day and night. And over there they have seasons too. Spiritual world, they have seasons too. If Krishna wants to enjoy some rain, it's enjoyable. Rain is enjoyable. And sometimes we want to be out, it rains, drizzle. It's so nice to be in this rain. You might have experienced that. It's not always an inconvenience. So in the spiritual world, whenever Krishna wants rainy season, it's rainy season. If he wants to turn night into day, he turns night into day. If he wants the night to expand into many yugas length, he does that. He did that here. When he did Rasa Leela to expand, he expanded one night into like yugas and yugas, thousands of years, so that you can enjoy more. So for him, the time factor is completely in his control. But in spiritual world, there is no degrading effect of time. But there is a sequential, like, oh yes, there was yesterday. Yesterday we did that, remember? And the gopis are wondering, yeah, yesterday was fun, but tomorrow what will we do? So they do have a sense of yesterday, today. They have, because remember, leelas have flavors. And to accommodate those flavors, Krishna creates a sense of sequentiality. But that sequentiality is not the actual time factor. Time factor is a degrading effect, which is not there, you see. Yeah?
Right. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, any more questions or comments? I know we have exhausted our time. It's already 3 minutes past an hour. But if there are any burning questions on time. There are no more questions.
I think we're out of time. So
Yeah, we are out of time. Can I request Parth Prema Prabhu, Hare Krishna Prabhu, are you able to end the session for today, Hare Krishna?
Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for your wonderful class. Like we are just in the trance how the atoms is moving and this one, and how we are here. And Prabhuji, just a small question. It will be telling that one, that is the flavor of the time in the spiritual world, but not like the reducing in the spiritual world. So it means it is made of different elements like atoms, not like this atom is material world. That is spiritual atom.
Right. Everything in the spiritual world is made of Satchidananda. Those are the elements. They're not atoms like us. So in the spiritual world, we don't have what you call Paramatma. Paramatma doesn't exist in the spiritual world. He only exists here in the material world. Here, every atom is Paramatma to make sure the movements are okay. In the spiritual world, there's no atoms. Everything is called Chidghan. Chidghan means it is self-luminous and self-conscious. So even things that are supposed to be things, like rocks and water, are living, you see. So they're expressions of living. So it's not matter, but it's a living force. So because everything is made of Satchidananda Vigraha, the thing is, the spiritual world is the original template behind which this world is designed, you see. That's part to understand. You see? Not the other way around.
Okay.
Yes. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your nice and informative class. It helps a lot to understanding practically in a scientific way. Like also you told this spiritual, this bhakti is not like a sentiment. It is practical. It is a
scientific.
Like realize every day, every step also same. Thank you, Prabhuji. And we are so grateful you are here and all the devotees here. We are releasing your nectar. So thank you so much, Prabhuji, for your lotus feet. We are pray for ourselves. So please give us more and more time so that we can capable to learn from you and understanding better and better. So I request all the same time to all the devotees who are assembling here in this Bhagavatam forum. So please unmute yourself and chant Hare Krishna mantra for his glorification of Madana-gopāla Prabhuji. And please join. Hare Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare.
Srila Prabhupada ki
Jai
jai.
Jai.
Jai,
Hare
Prabhu
Krishna.
ki jai.
Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda ki
Jai,
jai. Hare Krishna.
Jai.
Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna. Thank you
Patitanam
so much,
pavanebhyo
Prabhuji.
Vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Hare Krishna.
Sakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyascha
Hare
patitanam
Hare
pavanam
Bol. Thank you so
Vaishnavi.
much.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Gurudev, and thank you everybody for joining. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Path Prabhu, for ending the session today. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.